companies do far, far more to take down this material, which is so damaging. Vaccines only work if almost everybody takes them. That's the whole point. And they are clearly the right thing to do scientifically. There's clear guidance from the experts, from the doctors on that. But online, there's these pernicious messages being sent to people, whether they search for terms about vaccines or not, sometimes just because they've got the right characteristics. Maybe they have small children. We need to make sure that sort of misinformation or disinformation is stopped.
Don't you wish that the technology existed whereby you can just reach through the screen and wring somebody's neck? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Let's not waste it. So I think sometimes we get a little Amerocentric in our analysis of the overall end game. That's natural to do. I do it, you do it. There are certain programs, issues that transcend America. Chemtrails is a program, global in nature. So too are vaccines. Let's stay on vaccines because what's going on right now, you really need to pay attention to. In fact, I'm surprised there's not a lot more coverage on this. So what this video is going to be is sort of some international news. I'm going to briefly analyze 2 paragraphs from this article, and that's followed by a complimentary video and a few other videos of just news, vaccine news around the world. So you've read the headline by now. When we see the word tracking, I immediately think chip. But that's not the case. And in fact, it's interesting because the way they force compliance in Canada and Europe is it's mandatory reporting of immunization status. So in other words, no immunity, no status. A point I want you to really focus on. But before we do, just as I was putting this video together, and one of their theories is that why they don't like mandates is because they tend to feel that it alienates people who have questions about immunization. And it dawned on me. Let's play some word games. Let's read this paragraph. I don't think requiring people to be immunized works. And there's lots of evidence that shows it actually alienates people who have questions about immunization. Let's replace a word. I don't think requiring people to be vaccinated works. And there's lots of evidence that shows it actually alienates people who have questions about vaccination. So do you see what they're doing? They're subconsciously putting into your head that, without a doubt, vaccines create immunization. Now, that's the theory. Anyway, so let's, and I really want you to pay particular attention to what I'm about to say, because all the mechanisms are in place. They have been for a long time to do exactly what I'm about to explain to you. They can do this tomorrow, all right? Status. No status. You don't have status. Now, in America, as a citizen, if you don't have status or standing, so let's talk about, you've heard me say this many times. This is my line in the sand. I will fight and scratch and claw, and I will. But, that's American bravado kicking in. That's pride fucking with me. Here's the reality, all right? And they can do this tomorrow. They will tie your medical records into your banking institute. They will tie your medical records to your DMV record. They will tie your records into employment. So let's say you don't have updated medical records. Guess what? No debit card transactions for you, Mr. and Mrs. American. No loans for you, Mr. and Mrs. American, you better have some cash, gold, or silver on hand. You want to go renew your driver's license and you don't have updated medical records? You cannot leave the state and you're relegated to a radius of 10 miles of your home. And you might ask, well, how the hell are they going to enforce that? It's called insurance companies. No updated medical records, no auto insurance. No updated medical records, no home insurance. Let's talk about employment. Now, in the private sector, it'll be difficult, or will it? No. They're going to pressure the business owner. They're going to say, your employees do not have updated medical records. No license for you, Mr. Business Owner. Now, nurses already have a mandate. I want to address the law enforcement agents who, it's obvious who you're working for now. But let me ask you a question. When they say that anybody in the public sector now has to be vaccinated, that's the mandate, what are you guys going to do? You're not going to be able to do much because they will force your compliance. In the larger companies and corporations who will undoubtedly work as agents for the state, no updated medical records, say bye-bye benefits, say bye-bye 401k. This is very serious. You need to pay attention. I want to leave you with this thought because you have to ask yourself why they are making such a concerted, highly organized effort to get rid of exemptions and to push mandates to everyone, everywhere, all at once. Might it, ladies and gentlemen, have something to do or coincide with the 5G rollout? What if there are a specific set of proteins in this new batch of vaccines that reacts very specifically to a very specific frequency or set of frequencies that the human body, particularly in larger cities, will undoubtedly be bombarded with as they implement the 5G. That's just something to keep in mind, a theoretical question, but you have to ask yourself, why such the concerted effort right now? And it coincides with the rollout of 5G. Enjoy the rest of the clips. Like this if you want. Share this. It's a must. Have a good weekend.
Is to hear from someone in the government to see if this is even possible.
With over 30,000 signatures, a petition in favor of mandatory vaccinations in BC is quickly gaining traction.
I would really like to hear from the government. I think with 33,000 signatures, we at least deserve some sort of response.
Maple Ridge mother Katie Clun started circulating the petition after Vancouver Coastal Health confirmed there had been a case of measles in Vancouver. Since then, 8 cases have been confirmed. At 21 weeks pregnant, she's concerned for her own unborn child.
My baby will get vaccinated next July, but that up until that point, it's going to be not vaccinated because that's the way the schedule works, and that concerns me, and I know it's concerning a lot of other young mothers.
A measles outbreak has hit 2 French language schools in Vancouver, and because of that, some of their students are now unable to attend classes.
There have been a total of 33 students in between both schools who are staying home as they do not have documented immunity to measles.
Clun's petition does specify that in some cases vaccinations should not be mandatory.
Well, as my petition says, it's for medical exemptions only. So if your child has immune compromised system or is going through cancer treatments or have had a transplant or something like that, then obviously those people would be exempt.
When asked about the possibility of mandatory vaccinations, Dr. Althea Hayden with VCH says she'd instead be in favor of mandatory proof of vaccinations.
So I think we don't really know how much of a problem we have, and the only way we're going to find out is if, when people enroll their children in school, they are obligated to produce those records. And if they really are choosing not to immunize their children on purpose, then they should be obligated to declare that and to acknowledge that they are choosing to have their child potentially excluded in case of an outbreak.
In Vancouver, Ashley Burr, City News.
Parents in Australia who fail to vaccinate their children will have welfare payments stopped under government plans. Rules which until now have allowed a conscientious objector loophole are being tightened. The vast majority of children in Australia are vaccinated, but a growing number of refusals has been reported. The Prime Minister fears risks to the population at large.
Yes, people can, if they like, object to having their kids vaccinated, but if you don't have your children vaccinated, other than on strictly religious or medical grounds, you won't qualify for the supplement and you won't qualify for the childcare payments. So this is essentially a no jab, no pay policy from this government.
The plan has opposition support, important if it's to become law. It's estimated that nearly 40,000 children under 7 haven't been vaccinated in Australia, 2.5 times the number a decade ago. Some campaigns have claimed that vaccinations are dangerous. At the same time, cases of preventable childhood diseases have been rising.
延期という柔軟な対応を選択しました。
明治以来の大改革だからね。よくここまで来た。いよいよ本丸詰めだ。
木が広範囲になぎ倒されています。
あんたすごい波出てよ。
こんばんは。
Good evening. This is NHK's News 10 for Friday, September 10th.
プロ野球選手会が構えていた